Dave Palumbo with another RX Muscle rant. Today's topic, what do you eat backstage at a show? I have so many people asking me this all the time. I have a lot of, obviously, clients that I work with, a lot of athletes, and I pretty much have a standard protocol. And there's a reason I have that standard protocol. And I'm going to explain exactly why you should eat what you should eat and why you shouldn't eat what you shouldn't eat. And look, I've made a lot of mistakes myself. I've tried the old eating tons of sugar backstage, thinking, oh, I need to fill out and be hard and veiny and vascular. I've tried the drinking wine. You know what? When you do crazy stuff, and I've said this before, I always say, don't do kooky stuff. When you do crazy stuff that you're not used to putting into your body, things go wrong. So you got to stick with what you've been eating all along, okay? You never change things at the last minute. When you eat something sugary, okay, what happens to your body? You get this really surge of energy, right? Sometimes you get some veins going on a little bit, and you get a little bit of hyperactive, and you wake up. But then what happens like 15 minutes after that? Boom! Insulin gets released in your body so you can absorb the sugar. But usually when you eat sugary foods, they get absorbed so quickly that your body overproduces insulin. Okay? That's why sugars make you get fat. Now, you're not going to get fat, obviously, at a bodybuilding show because you have no body fat in you. What you're doing is you're trying to force nutrients into the muscle cells to give a little bit of a swelling effect. But if you're not carved up at this point, by the time you're backstage already and ready to go, nothing's going to be fixed at this point. So you get this little surge, and then you get this release of insulin. Blood sugar now drops. The problem is, when does it drop? Let's say you do this sugary meal. Now you're waiting to go out on stage. Okay, you feel good, everything's great. They get you out on stage, and now the judges say, oh, you know what? This is a tough class. We're gonna work these guys real hard. And you're out there working and posing, and you're burning through blood sugar. Insulin is super high, sugar's going into the muscles, and all of a sudden you start going low. It happens all the time. When you go low blood sugar, you know what the symptoms are? Cold sweats. You see these guys on stage, just dripping sweat. Now you start to get that little bit of shakiness because your blood sugar is low. Sometimes you get the numbing of your lips, and at this point, things are going downhill, and they're going downhill fast, and all you want to do is get off stage at that point and eat something. But it's too late because you can't elevate blood sugar. So this happens all too often. I've actually seen people pass out on stage. I helped a girl once. She was on a ketogenic diet, and she had the most amazing genetics of all time. And I said, you're not eating any carbs, okay? I want no carbs, because she was just barely where she needed to be for this show. I knew, based on her shape alone, she was gonna kill it out there. She's out there, she's easily gonna win, I could tell. She came out, she did quarter turns, she's being compared, and they were about to do the first call out. And all of a sudden, boom, I see her start to shake back and forth, and she goes right down. Run backstage, I'm like, go get her bag. And I see in her bag, she's got a ton of fruit she was eating backstage. I never told her to eat the fruit. She was eating the fruit, and of course she felt great for a little while. She hadn't eaten a carb in like weeks, and she put the fruit in, and now her brain wants more sugar, okay? It takes it out of the bloodstream, insulin drops blood sugar at the same time, boom, she goes down on stage. Loses the show because she can't even do prejudging, and that one silly mistake, all those weeks of dieting and torture, and all the successes she could have had down the tubes. Don't do crazy stuff backstage. What I have my guys do is and girls, once they eat their meals and they get to about 90 minutes out from a show, an hour out from getting on stage, I have them go to rice cakes and peanut butter. Okay, all natural peanut butter. The reason I do this is because the fats slow the absorption of the carbs in. Because if you just eat plain rice cakes, what happens invariably is you get the sugar rush. Same thing as eating sugar. It's just a very simple carb. It gets absorbed, your body releases insulin, and sometimes you can crash. What the peanut butter does is because it's a fat, it slows the absorption down of these carbs. And you're just eating like maybe 1 or 2 rice cakes with maybe a tablespoon of peanut butter on it. And what you're doing essentially is keeping your blood sugar level stable. And the great thing about them is because they're slowly absorbed, you're getting this constant trickle of carbs into the bloodstream with only a small trickle of insulin. So everything is perfectly adjusted for, and you don't get any drop. You don't ever see a drop in blood sugar, okay? It works every single time, okay? And obviously you don't want to be drinking fluid before you go on stage, so rice cakes are good because they're kind of dry. The peanut butter adds a little bit of moisture and lubrication to go down your throat. and it works like a charm. I mean, theoretically, you could pour macadamia nut oil if you wanted to on a rice cake too, but the peanut butter obviously a little more tasty and stuff like that. And that's what I do. And I have people do that every 20 to 30, 40 minutes, depending on whether they're a bikini person or they're a bodybuilder and how fast their metabolism is. But that's a conservative way to be. Now, other things I see people do is drinking alcohol backstage. Once again, vasodilator. You go on stage, sometimes it causes an insulin release because some of these liqueurs have sugar in them. Boom, they go down. Sometimes it makes you drunk. I've seen people drunk on stage and they don't even know what's going on. They're missing poses. Don't do crazy stuff backstage that you don't do on a normal basis. There's no way you're changing how you look backstage, okay, by what you're eating, okay? And if you are, and if you need to, then you're probably not in shape and something's wrong, okay? Or you're in too good a shape and maybe you're too depleted. And you're not gonna fill up right before you go on stage. Because let's face it, that food that you're eating backstage is really not contributing to how you look. It's more or less, like I said, keeping blood sugar stable. All the meals prior to that, that's what dictated how you look if you're filled out. But within an hour or 90 minutes before you get on stage, you're not changing much other than stabilizing blood sugar. That should be the goal backstage food-wise, okay? Now, if you're overly dehydrated and you need to drink a little bit or you need to add some salt to your food because you're cramping, those are other adjustments that you make. But when we talk about what to eat, I like a food that's kind of bland, that's not going to bother your stomach, okay? Some kind of carbohydrate source and something that has not a ton of protein in it, but a little bit maybe like the peanut butter, and fats, because that's going to slow things down and keep that trickle effect going. And I like to have something a little salty, so the peanut butter can have a little salt in it. I usually do lightly salted rice cakes because we want sodium in your body at that point. You're not holding water from it because you've already dehydrated yourself. But what we're doing is we're balancing electrolytes so that you're not cramping, because most of the diuretics we're taking are pushing salt and water out of the body. So we want to keep a little sodium. We're not putting water back, but we want to put sodium back in there so that we keep the electrolytes balanced so that you don't cramp when you're posing on stage. So once again, it sounds very logical. And a lot of people out there might listen to it and say, yeah, that makes absolute sense. I don't know why I would do anything differently. And then they get backstage and they go into a panic and they see other people drinking alcohol and see people eating ring dings and all kinds of sugary, licorice stuff. And they say, oh, I got to do it too because look, these people look really good. Well, you know what? Don't take the chance. It's not worth it. You're not going to change the way you look. More than likely, you're going to screw yourself up. At the point that you're at backstage, we don't need to do anything that your body has not used to doing at all. Now, if you eat Twizzlers licorice every single day and you do it on a daily basis before you go weight train, maybe that's something that you can do. But very few people do that, right? So once again, don't do crazy stuff backstage. Find a protocol that works for you. Stick with, simple digesting carbs, a little bit of a fat source, minimal protein, every 20 to 30 minutes to keep blood sugar levels stable, and go out, have fun, and do your thing. I'm Dave Palumbo with another RxMuscle rant.